It's 3 a.m. and I get a tap on my shoulder. I'm 10 years old and it's my mom. I know I need to wake up, but waking up in the middle of a sleep cycle is real hard. So I give myself 30 seconds. 10, 9, 8. Okay, I'm up. I throw on my trusty yellow sweatshirt, a pair of sneakers, and I head out, and it's pitch dark. But it's always pitch dark. On Tuesdays are the best days. The newspapers are the lightest. Sundays are the worst days. There's 2 editions, and all of the advertisers have crammed in inserts. It's raining. Oh, crap. That means I'm not going to get home until 6:30, so I might as well grab a donut and roll right into school. That was my routine, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, starting at the age of 10. And I did it for 6 years. You see, my parents left Vietnam in 1979, a few years after the fall of Saigon. They left their home, their family, their friends, and they got on a boat and they traveled to an Indonesian refugee camp. And a year later, we settled in San Jose, and a couple years later, my dad passed away. So it was just me, my mom, and my 2 older brothers trying to rebuild a life. But the one thing that experience taught me was that if I work hard, I'll make it through. So I worked hard at work, and I worked hard at school, and I made it to Cal. And then when I got to Cal, I worked really hard, and I made it to Haas, and I graduated Phi Beta Kappa with a 3.7 GPA, technically 3.8 if you round up. And then I made it into Bain. So it's my first week at Bain, and I feel on top of the world because I'm literally on top of the world. It's the 36th floor of Embarcadero 1, and there are floor-to-ceiling views of the entire bay. You could see Coit Tower. There are sailboats out there on the water, and I just tried to make myself a cappuccino with the crazy machine in the lunchroom, unsuccessfully. And I head into the main conference room. And I'm sitting there and I'm having this heated debate with a colleague. And he turns to me and he says, "You don't speak English good." And it was 20 years ago. And I remember it clearly because I felt humiliated. And instantly, I knew that the rules of the game have changed. This isn't work. This isn't school where you can work hard and get a good grade. This is work where there's class and power and privilege. Apparently, the privilege to be an asshole at work without impunity. So it taught me another lesson. And I wish I could tell you it was my first story and my only story. But it was the first of a series of stories at every stage in my career. And it taught me another lesson, that sometimes working hard isn't enough, that there's discrimination and racism, and it's not in some far off place, it's probably in your workplace. It's one of the reasons why a few of us started Stand with Asian Americans, which is a coalition of Asian business leaders who are devoted to ending violence against the AAPI community and elevating all marginalized communities. Asian Americans are not okay. We are not okay. On the streets, we're being spit on, assaulted, and killed at alarming rates. Hate crimes against Asians are up 3 to 5x in places like San Francisco and New York over the past year. Asian American women are the least promoted of any gender racial group. And in a place like Facebook, where 54% of the employees are Asian, there is one person on the executive team who is half Asian. We started SwAA for all of those reasons. It got started about a week after the Atlanta shootings, where 8 innocent people died, 6 who looked like my mom. And in that one moment, the one thing I felt like I could do was take a vague idea in a Google Doc and turn it into a letter that expressed the frustration of a generation of Asian Americans who can no longer stay silent about what's happening to the community. And the irony is not lost on me that it was I who proposed that we print it in the front section of the Wall Street Journal, because apparently some people still read newspapers. Like our 43rd president, George W. Bush, who read the letter, went on our website, and signed it. SwAA is about a year old now. We do this, it's 100% volunteer run. We do this in the evenings, on the weekends, between feeding kids and trying to get some sleep. And I do it because I don't think what's going on is fair. It violates what I think is great about America. And honestly, I don't want to see another Asian grandmother punched in the face. And I don't want my kids to have that same feeling I had my first week at Bain. So I'm going to leave you with one last story. You might know Kevin because his name's on this building. I know Kevin because we studied abroad together our junior year in Hong Kong, and he was my personal currency calculator. He was always very good at mental math, not so good at day trading. And when it came time to prepping for case interviews and investment banking interviews, he was my personal quiz on market sizing questions. So I made it into Bain, but Kevin didn't. They didn't see his talent. Then he went on to Deutsche Bank, and his VP didn't see his talent. So the question that I ask is, who bears the cost of Asian discrimination, or frankly, any discrimination? It's us. Because for every one Kevin or Wendy who is lucky enough to get a Cal education and live in San Francisco during the epicenter of the tech revolution, there's 99 other Kevin and Wendys buried in some middle-wage career where people can't see their talent because they don't have quote-unquote executive presence. So I'm going to end with I work in advertising and marketing, and I'm going to end with my favorite motto of all time. Let there be light. Thank you for letting me tell you my story. I appreciate it.